Welcome back to Hiking and History. Today we're in Nuttallburg, West Virginia, back in the New River Gorge. We're going to be going on two trails, Head House Trail and Conveyor Trail. Head House Trail will take us to the mine face and Head House, while Conveyor Trail will take us to the tipple, the coke ovens, and the remains of the town. When studying Nuttallburg's history, there are three men that stick out. John Nuttall, who originally opened the mine, Henry Ford, who later owned and modernized the mine, and William Holland, who changed Nuttallburg's history from coal to gold. So, let's get hiking. Welcome to the main entrance of the Nuttallburg mine. John Nuttall first came to the New River Gorge in 1870. He noticed that the tavern he was staying at was burning an especially high grade of coal. He learned that it was from a 4-foot thick seam we now know as the Sewell seam, and it was directly above where the new railroad was being built. So Nuttall started buying up land at $1 an acre along Keeney's Creek, and by the time the C&O Railroad was completed in 1873, Nuttall was ready to start shipping coal at 500 tons a day. He was the second man in the New River Gorge to ship coal commercially. This is the building that supplied electricity to the mine. By 1893, there were over 300 people and 110 houses here in Nuttallburg. It had all the businesses necessary to provide for the growing community. Nuttallburg was a segregated town, with white and black neighborhoods separated by Short Creek. White residents lived on the west side, while black citizens lived on the east. By 1919, many people believed the Nuttallburg mine was just about finished. It had advanced too deep into the mountain to be profitable to mine the coal. Therefore, it did not come as much of a surprise when the Nuttall family decided to sell. It did come as a surprise, however, when in 1920, Henry Ford leased the town's mines to provide coal for his company's steel mills. I'm now on the top of the head house where the coal was sorted. The Fortson Coal Company made many improvements to the mine and town. Within 2 years of taking over, they had abandoned pick mining completely and were instead running 4 mining machines. With only 49 men, they were able to produce over 45,000 tons of coal a year. Now we're at the lower part of the head house where the coal was loaded onto the conveyor to the tipple. Great excitement came in 1921 when it was announced that Henry Ford would be visiting in person. He and his son Edsel arrived in their personal railroad car and set off to tour the town and mine. They explored every part of the property, even the underground mine. Sometimes it was only 3 feet tall and they had to crawl, but Ford took it in stride, not stopping until they reached the mine face, almost 3 miles underground. The famous automaker must have been pleased with his visit to Nuttallburg because he continued to invest in the town. In 1923, he built this tipple and its incline conveyor, which at the time was the largest in the world. His plan was vertical integration, which meant controlling manufacturing in all aspects, from raw materials to the finished product, which would have been his cars. In 1928, when he realized he couldn't control the railroad or buy it, he sold his interests in Nuttallburg. The mine passed through 3 different owners after Henry Ford sold his interest in Nuttallburg, and production was limited to mostly locally used coal. In 1958, the operation stopped completely, and it became like so many other New River Gorge coal camps, just a collection of empty buildings and structureless foundations hidden by the trees and vines. Today, I've shown you all that's left of the once thriving community of Nuttallburg. I stopped here at the ruins of the company store to tell you about the next chapter in Nuttallburg's story. Henry Ford brought a lot of excitement to Nuttallburg, but it was nothing compared to William Holland. He's the one who changed Nuttallburg's legacy from coal to gold. So let's stop by the remains of his house and I'll tell you more about the legend of Nuttallburg gold. After making his fortune in coal, William Holland moved from Winona to this location in Nuttallburg. Though he lived here the remainder of his life, very few people got to know him. He was very eccentric and didn't trust people or bankers, which caused him to hide his fortune in glass jars buried around this property. He didn't tell his secret to anyone, and his children sold the house in 1921 with no knowledge of the treasure buried here. Holland employed a man named Dixon as his gardener, and the new owners kept him on when they bought the property. Shortly before they arrived, Dixon was tending to the flower beds, which could have been right here in front of the house, and he made a discovery that would earn him a lasting place in New River Gorge history. Deep in the flower bed, Dixon found 2 glass jars. The first was filled with old gold coins. He pulled out $5, $10, and $20 pieces. The second was apparently buried much later and was filled with tightly rolled $50 bills. Over the next few years, various workers found approximately $62,000 in the walls of the house and buried around this property. All that remains of the Holland House today is its foundation, which lies underneath the vegetation that covers the town of Nuttallburg. If there's treasure to still be found here, then it remains the one final secret of the legendary New River Gorge miser, William Holland. I hope you enjoyed our trip to Nuttallburg today. And if you're ever in the area, it's definitely a must-see. But you might want to wear long pants instead of shorts like I did. Because this place has so many nettles, it could be called Nuttallburg. And who knows, you might stumble upon some treasure of your own. So I'll see you next time for my next adventure.